I haven't seen lightning this heavy in years. I'm forced to admit that you weren't just scared of getting soaked in the rain. We truly did need to take shelter. The lightning is too frequent to risk walking all the way back to camp, after hearing it strike that tree not too far away. Being almost as tall as any tree in the forest certainly increases the danger to a giant. It's no wonder your voice was so frantic when you demanded we hunker down somewhere. You must have felt a hair's breadth away from being struck by the angry sky, sitting so high up on my shoulder. Have you ever been up that high before, little cave dweller? I can imagine it would be extra frightening when you're used to always being on or underneath the safe ground. Don't pull such a long face, boy. How can a giant not find reason to tease? You are just so adorably small. You should catch me around a band of elves or dwarves sometime. I either drive them to blush or to shake their fists at me for poking fun at them. It is all in harmless fun, of course. Trust me. They retaliate with just as much gusto. I've been called a big bumbling oaf more times than I can count. No sense dishing it out if you're not prepared to take it in return. Go on, hurl any insult you wish at me. I have thick skin. Nothing? I thought you were a feisty little thing. I suppose your only assumptions about giants would be fairly gruesome and terrible ones that do not make for fun ribbing. Fair enough. I apologize, boy. It's just so exciting for me to be speaking with a human. I can't help but wish to be on good terms as quickly as possible. Does that seem foolish? I can agree with that. Reasonable, but difficult. That is an adequate way of describing the path set before our peoples. But we've taken the first step just by speaking. We're probably the very first human and giant to converse with each other in over a century. That is just exhilarating to me. Are you not excited as well? Wary. I see. Understandable. But I meant what I said before. I'll prove to you how drastically things have changed since our ancestors' time, and that humans have nothing to fear from us giants anymore. We would sincerely wish to bring humans back into the world as the thriving people they once were. You must believe me to some degree, or you could have run when I put you down. I thought for a second that was your plan by insisting we take shelter. Since you guided me to this cave, I assumed you might run back into it and disappear. Once I saw that it was just a dead end, I realized I was wrong, and I'm glad that you stayed here with me. I'm amazed that this cave mouth is even big enough for me. You must know this area very well to have thought of it. I swear, my people have scoured half the mountainside and haven't found any others this large. All of the caves we have found are too small for more than a few of us, not worth camping around them. A pity in our situation. Sleeping in a cave would make a nice change from huddling in our tents and makeshift lintos. It's been fairly miserable with all this unusually harsh weather recently. I should have known when I set out this morning that those clouds would form a thunderhead on the flip of a coin. I've learned that the weather likes to turn about fast enough to give you whiplash up here. It was never like that in our valley. The mountain takes the brunt of the strong weather mostly, and we're left with standard rainfall and bouts of occasional dry summer. Nothing this cataclysmic has occurred in quite some time. I remember when I was about 7, there was a tornado that ripped through the valley, tore down a few barns and part of one house. The damage was thankfully minimal. Beyond that, I think the greatest struggle we've had with nature for a long time is just keeping pests away from our fields, flocks, and herds. And then the landslide came. Wiped almost everything away. I've never seen anything like it. I thank our lucky stars that we were at least given enough warning to escape with our own lives. We could do nothing to save our crops or creatures. It was very upsetting for everyone. I lost all of my sheep and my cattle. Such a shame. We had so many lambs and calves this spring. It is painful to even think about those poor little things being swept away. Thankfully, I did save the 2 cows that I've been hand-rearing, since they were in their little crate in my house when the watchtower bells rang. It was easy to snatch them up and run with them. Beyond all hopes, a few of my neighbors did save a handful of their own livestock, so I've been continuing to feed them. Just hope I'm not fighting a losing battle considering our situation. All hands are needed for the work, and it might be better to cut our losses, but they're all I have left of my herd. I just can't do that after I've come this far. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ramble. I just care deeply about the livestock under my care. My family has been specializing in animal husbandry for a very long time. It's in my blood. What? Why are you looking at me like that? I don't even know what that expression is. So emotional? Well, of course. I'm not a rock or a log. Everyone has feelings. Did you think that giants didn't? Oh, I see. I shouldn't be surprised that we've been portrayed as mindless, bloodthirsty monsters through your people's eyes. It must have seemed that way back then, that giants had no feelings or intellect beyond the desire for human flesh. That is so tragic for so many reasons. It is also entirely incorrect. Did you know? My grandfather once told me that the giants are nothing more than oversized humans. That it was always though perhaps we had more in common than, say, elves and dwarves, when compared to each other. I could only trust that he knew something of what he spoke about. But now, I can believe those words, because I'm looking at a human with my own eyes. There's so much about you that I want to know. How long have you been living all this time? Do you have a secret trade deals with other races of beings for supplies? Have you been able to grow your own crops, or have you relied entirely on hunters like you? Oh, no. I'm not a hunter. I told you I'm a livestock farmer. They just started sending me to check the traps because I have experience with animals. And the real hunters are needed to try other parts of the forest. No, I don't have the skills or patience. I only prepare the catch after the fact. But what about on the other side of the mountain? Do your people fish or reap the bounty of the sea? That seems like one possible option. You'd never venture that far. Traveling through the woods is irritating when you're nearly as big as the trees. I seem wise to keep your secrets close for as long as you can. Think on this, however. Even if you did tell me where and how you all lived, do you really think we have any time or resources to waste trying to find you for whatever reason? We're all out of our element being on this mountainside rather than wide open plains or rolling hills. And we want nothing more than to rebuild our home and stay there. Why don't you compromise with me? Tell me just one or two things about human life, and I promise I won't ask again. Human, stay very still. There is a wolf at the mouth of the cave. It is no threat to me, but I may need to snatch you up and kick the creature away if it charges around the fire at you. It may have more pack members following behind it, or... Stars above! Human, you're not frightened? What? What are you... Do you know this creature? I'll be damned. I've never seen any being coddle a wolf like it was their pet. How did this come about? It doesn't even seem wary of me at all. What kind of ferocious wolf would leap into a giant's lap without thinking? His tail is wiggling and everything. My, he's quite soft. It's very wet from the rain. I never thought in my life being this close to a wolf before, let alone one that was so friendly. They're usually a blight to our livestock, but this little fellow seems... tame? You think he came to find you? Did you save him from a bad situation and earned his trust? What is the story behind this? I'm intrigued. That is incredible. Domesticated wolves? Really? That is truly impressive. How long ago did your ancestors begin that practice? You're not sure? Still, to be so common by this time, it must have started a number of years ago. I've never heard of such a thing. I know the elves occasionally save the wild creature, and in return it becomes their companion. But if you have full groups of wolves as their pets, and pets alone, I'm impressed. Wolves are the epitome of wilderness. I never imagined that one could raise and breed them the same way I do with my own stock. Clearly, he prefers you over me. Can't blame him. You're his owner. Well, you did it, boy. You told me at least one unique fact about humans that I could have never guessed. Even if you didn't have much of a choice because of the spontaneous visitor, I'm glad. There has to be a million other fascinating things about your underground human society. And I can't wait to hear all about it once we've earned your trust. Maybe we can both help each other out and find a common ground by working together. But I won't press you about it any further. Once the storm lets up, your little wolf friend can come with us if he wishes, and we'll continue to our camp. I'm sure the others will be as awed as I am to interact with a tame wolf. I think it may be a pleasant way to ease the news. As it were, I promise that you have nothing to fear from us. I admire how brave you are. Trusting me, it can't be easy. What's that, boy? You're muttering. Oh. Well, that makes me happy. I seem very human? I'm so thrilled that you think so. It's like I said before, the only difference between giants and humans is our size. Beyond that, we are all the same. That should be enough to mend our ties.